First things first, see those holes? Spray some blaster up in the hole so it gets on the thread of the bolt. There's like a insert stamped in the body that threads into. You want to get as much penetrant oil in there as possible so that it makes it come out easier. Did all 4 of them like that. There's the other 2. Lots of penetrant oil even on the bolt head because that helps the rust flake off so your socket fits on it better. So put a support under the tank. You can see it's got a wedge there. It's just easier than the straps aren't like trying to push down on you while you're taking the bolts off, because some of them you got to run in and out because of the rust. So what I'm going to do is take them out a little bit, spray some blaster on the threads, run them back in, and then run them back out. Do that a couple times to avoid breaking them off because they're really rusty. Got my setup here with the 3/8 drive. It seems to absorb a little more shock and you can kind of feel, rather than it's just going to break it off if you use all the impact socket and all that stuff. Sockets have held up. Got the first one down a little bit. I'm going to spray some plaster in on the threads. I got 2 of them out. You can see the bolts there. They're pretty rusty, but with the blaster on them, made a huge difference. So this one I had to run back in and out a couple times, but came out good. Both straps out. Gas tank is held up by the board. Next thing is drop it down and start disconnecting stuff. Before dropping it out, I'm going to take off. This is the gas neck. Looks like it's just a 5/16 or a flathead hose clamp. And this fuel and AC line disconnect kit. It's pretty inexpensive. Makes it easier. You can see the white collar is pushed in there to release the fuel line. Kind of wiggle it, pop it apart. Lines popped apart. This plug has to be taken out. It's for the full fuel sending unit, regulator, pump combo. So you just pull that red clip out. And grab this little red clip out. And you can just, you can see it there. Push it and the plug comes out. The tank tilted down. You can see that there's that EVAP line that's got to get disconnected, and the rest of the stuff, the EVAP line and then the gas neck, which I loosened that up, that's all ready to pull off, but it's just hanging by that EVAP line. You can see it. Another item there, you got to get that EVAP line out. That's basically right above the rear sway bar link, and you get that out, that's attached to the tank. You can't take it off on the tank. There's the EVAP line disconnected. The only thing that's left now is the gas neck, and I'm going to wiggle the tank as I pull it down. Before you pull this apart, I usually take the clamp off, and then I took a screwdriver and I just kind of opened this up a little bit and sprayed some blaster, and that really softens the rubber up and makes it easy to pull apart and slide back. Comes there, popped out. Before you open anything up, as far as the lock ring or anything, that cover the hole, cover the hose, cover the fuel lines, and then just take a air gun or whatever means necessary, blow all this crap off, get it squeaky clean. With all the stuff taped off, take your blowgun and clean her off. You could probably use a leaf blower if you're outside. blown off. You can carefully pry up these little tabs. They're made out of metal. Give yourself some room. Or you can just knock it with a screwdriver to loosen them up. You hit it, turn it counterclockwise. You can see I got the lock ring mostly off, turned it loose, but before I pull it off, I'm gonna hold this down and blow it off one more time. Fuel pump is out. The only thing I have left is to pull that line off, this one, and put it on the new one, and obviously swap out the lock ring. And then the new pump comes with that blue O-ring, so we'll swap that out as well. You can see that they're pretty much identical, other than it looks like the internal workings are a little bit different. The new one's a Delphi. I'm not sure if the old one is probably original, I would guess, but you know, the float position and all that stuff is the same. That little tab which aligns the float, it's all the same. You got the new O-ring in place. You can see there's this white tab there, and then there's a little arrow. That's where the tab goes, and then that makes it line up with the fuel lines and get the electrical connector in the right spot and all that. With the lock ring, I just put it in place by hand. You got to push the fuel pump down a little bit, and now I'm going to knock it in place.